Ahoy, ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? Welcome to the BBC Spews Live. It is the 13th of October, and look what we've gone and done. That is mint. Can't believe we're living in time to see it. And all thanks to ingenuity and innovation and hard work, which are all being disincentivized by the human sausage in a pantsuit currently trying to run for the presidency of the United States of America. Brilliant. Love that. Let's have a watch. If you don't know what's gone on, almost all rockets that launch to space don't come back. They're disposable. Falcon 9, which is SpaceX's premier launch vehicle, has a one-stage return piece that comes back, but the other half stays up there. And Starship was developed to be the world's first fully reusable rocket that would go to space and come back. And they successfully managed to catch it first try today when it came back from space. Basically did a lap of the planet and then came back and landed, and there it is. Imagine seeing that up close and personal. There's really good footage of people watching it from the road nearby, look. Yeah, look at this one. Coming back in through the stratosphere. It's science fiction stuff, really. When you really sit down and think about how difficult it is to achieve this stuff. It is plummeting through the sky. Landing ignition. Straight onto the tower. Amazing, really. Anyone who knows anything about it knows how amazing it is. I think if you're just a layman, you don't really realise how much of a big deal it is. The stresses and the speeds involved. It's nothing like a conventional passenger aircraft. Absolutely hoofing. So, class, because with any luck, I've got some shares in the company now. So with any luck, by 2030, I'll be able to afford a leopard skin pimp suit and a bouncing Cadillac, which, as we all know, is the true definition of wealth. And I personally had a hand in this because I installed the Gobbletron 3000 so the astronauts can get a chew while they're away from the families. Yeah, so I mean, we all had a part to play. I think Elon did say that last press conference. He was like, I'd really like to thank the Angry Bootneck for the installation of the Gobbletron. So we all played, I'm not an aerospace engineer, so I didn't do any, engines or boring things like that. Boring shit like engines. No, I put the Gobbletron in. So that's how they're gonna. Nobody wanted to go to Mars. They were like, who wants to go to Mars? And anyone? Room was dead. And then he was like, they're installing a Gobbletron. Everyone was fighting over a space then. So it's me, really. I think I deserve more credit than those, boring physicists and engineers. Right. Depressing news to do today. This is far more depressing than it should be because, as we all know, it's infinitely more tragic when attractive people die. And this young lass was fit. So, I don't want to sound callous, but if she was 25 stone and had a face like a plasterer's radio, it'd be slightly less tragic. I feel like, genetic deadwood is... I'm kidding, of course. I'm not this much of a prick. Anyway, yeah, Mary Ward. Man appears in court charged with Mary Ward murder in Dublin, right? So I'll give you a clue. Who can guess the name of the bloke that killed her? It's surely easy if it's an Irish fella, right? Easy. Declan or, Sean Muck something. All right? Easy. Can anyone want to take a guess? Sean McLaughlin? Declan Donnelly? No? Well, I'll tell you who it was. Neither of them. It was this fella. As I said, if you were playing Countdown, you'd be like, yeah, can I have a consonant, please? So there wasn't Declan Donnelly. No, it wasn't. It was Abba-dabba man. So no, sadly, John, and close, but no cigar. Seamus O'Malley, no, wasn't him. So yeah, let's have a read, shall we? Disgraceful. 31-year-old man appeared in court in Dublin, charged with the murder of Mary Ward in Belfast. 22-year-old was found dead at her home with neck wounds. He cut her throat like an animal. Mr. Dabba man with an address in Kinley House in Dublin Street. I love that. So they've stopped doing it, haven't they? 6 months ago, they'd have went, oh, an Irishman. 6 months ago, it'd have been, Bigora, Ireland, there's more to it than a diss. That's what they'd have said 6 months ago. Now they say, with an address in Dublin, because they keep saying, oh yeah, the Irishman, and everyone's noticed it. Richie Erickson's bought me a pint. Cheers, Richie. Thanks for that, mate. I will, I was going to say that'll only buy me one beer in California, but I drink piss, so that'll probably get me about 8 pints. Cheers, mate. So yeah, it's disgraceful. And as I said, I've made this point loads of times. If you were gonna start a town, you wouldn't en masse import young, high testosterone men. Men are chewy. Men cause problems. Everybody knows this. 95% of violent crime is carried out by young men. If you take the age 16 to 36, sort of 20-year bracket, that's 95% of violent crime there. So if you were going to start your own little town, make your own little residency somewhere in the middle of nowhere, and 500 young 20-year-old lads from Borough said, oh, we want to move there, you wouldn't go, yeah, good idea that. You wouldn't. You want to encourage like families. You want to make sure that you've got enough women and men and children in an area. You wouldn't do it with a load of lads from England, lads born and raised in a culture that is genteel and tells people no means no, violence is bad, aggression is out of order, politeness and good manners is important. A bunch of people who grew up watching Sesame Street. You know what I mean? Because like we all know your formative years are the important part. And everybody knows that. If you're a little kid in England and you're born and raised in a country where the teachers are nice and polite and everybody looks out for each other and every day you watch Sesame Street, you grow up to be a nice, polite young man, generally speaking. These lunatics watch Jihadi Mouse. Have you seen a Palestinian TV programming? That's what I always make. I know that it's a controversial subject and there's a lot of people who follow me who genuinely do seem to have quite a distaste for the 4B2s. But like I said to you, I don't have a dog in the hunt, but I know which side I'm on if I have to pick. And it's not the side that has children's television programs with Jihadi Mouse on, and I've watched it. Like, if you go on YouTube and watch Palestinian, just type in, like, Palestinian kids' TV programs. It's like a little girl, and she's like, and there's like a mouse with a turban on behind her, a bloke dressed up like Mickey Mouse, and he's going, and you read the subtitles, and it's like, death to all of them, kill them wherever you find them, blow them to bits. It's unbelievable. Rob thinks I'm taking the piss. It's a real thing, I'm telling you. Jihadi Mouse. In fact, shall we have a look? Now I'm talking about it, I'll show the doubters in the chat. Let me just... I'll type in Palestinian Mouse TV show. I don't think this is the one with a mouse on. No, unfortunately. I've actually seen a class Jihadi Mouse. I wonder if I type in Jihadi Mouse. Let's have a look. Jihadi Mouse on YouTube. Yeah. Oh no, this is a rabbit. Yeah, here we go. Like I found one. Right, have a look at this. I'll put it up a bit bigger. 26th of February 2008.
Will begin.
Assalamu alaikum.
This is children's broadcasting as produced by Hamas-run television in Gaza. But don't be fooled by the colourful scenery. Instead of songs and stories, the show serves up political ideology disguised as cuddly animals. The latest character to join the programme is Asud the rabbit, and he comes with a backstory. The young viewers are told that Asud entered Gaza from Egypt after Hamas knocked down the border wall in January. The wooden key he wears round his neck, he says, is the key of return to reclaim Jerusalem from the Zionists.
We educate our children.
How good! There's something hilarious about it, like bloke dressed as a rabbit. And I've seen ones where they're doing the subtitles, like, and he's putting on like a high-pitched voice as well, like, because he's dressed as a children's TV program, and he's going, and you read the fucking thing on the bottom, and he's like, blow them to bits, scatter their entrails, leave their corpses for the dogs. It's like shit. He's like pumping his fist, but it's hilarious because it says stuff like, leave their disgusting corpses for the dogs, treat them worse than rats, and he's going, doing it in like a high-pitched voice, and you just sit there going, yeah, this isn't really sensible to show children, is it?
Children about loyalty, love, understanding, and hard work, nothing more. We also teach them that we have lands stolen by the criminal Zionists.
The rabbit replaces Nahul the bee, who gets his fun from tormenting cats and from...
How good's that? The rabbit replaces Bobby the bee, who likes to kick animals. That's amazing. I forgot about that bit. The rabbit replaces Bobby the bee, who loves to torture small animals. Absolutely class. Like, this is what I'm saying. In today's society, real life is funnier than comedy. Like, that is absolutely class. Like, it's just like, cat, yeah, Lord. Look at him sling the cat.
The rabbit replaces Nahul the bee, who gets his fun from tormenting cats and from throwing stones at a caged lion. The children get...
That's, from throwing stones at the caged lion. Is that what the kids do for fun in Palestine? What should we do this weekend, kids? Oh, Daddy, can we go hoy bricks at a caged lion? Brilliant. Yeah, have a good day, kids. Throwing stones at the lions, amazing. And it'll be the same thing. You know what? That's like a metaphor for what they do with the Israelis, isn't it? They throw stones at Israeli tanks, and when the coaxial gunner just goes, puts 40 rounds into them, they go, well, what are you doing that for? It's like, well, you were throwing stones at them. The lefties' argument is, well, yeah, but tanks are armoured, so you should just let them throw stones at you. You know what I mean? That's like saying, oh, well, motorcyclists wear crash helmets, so let them do 200 mile an hour past the primary school. That's amazing. Throwing stones at the lions. That tickled me, that one. Let's finish this, because this is comedy gold.
Get to watch Nahul's antics for several minutes before the show delivers the moral of the story. Don't try this at home. But Nahul didn't leave the show because of his naughty behaviour. The young viewers are told that the cuddly bee died.
Here is a sleeping cat. I am going to attack it. Oh my God. This is brilliant. This is the funniest thing ever.
Because the Israeli siege on Gaza prevented him from reaching a hospital. The overtly political message and the use of violence has made the show controversial. But the programme makers are unapologetic about how they approach their younger audience.
We want to have children involved with the channel, and we care about their reaction to our programs. So we have live shows to make sure that the message is relayed the way we intended.
Perhaps the most famous scene from the children's show, a Mickey Mouse lookalike being beaten to death by an Israeli.
A Mickey Mouse lookalike being beaten to death by an Israeli. How good's that? How good's that? That's just absolutely fantastic. As I said, funnier than anything a real comedian could come up with. Like, that is way better than Brass Eye. And it's real. And just so you know as well, the source is a good one. It's on Al Jazeera, which obviously Al Jazeera is like massively pro Alan's. Every member of staff at Al Jazeera starts the day with breakfast at Alan's legendary snack bar. I'll just leave it at that. But so you know this is legit, boys and girls. Anyway, let's finish, because this is killing me. This is killing me.
It could be a case of television imitating life. After all, death and violence lurk around every corner in Gaza. But there are concerns both inside and outside Palestine about the long-term effects this will have on young minds. Jackie Rowland, Al Jazeera.
That is mint. I love that. I told you there was a mouse. I knew there was a mouse.
A Mickey
I knew there was a mouse.
Mouse look-alike.
I just didn't know he got graphically beaten to death by Secret Service agents from Mossad. Yeah, so that is hoofing. That is definitely one of the best things I've ever seen. So this is what I'm telling you. Like, yeah, it's a complex issue, and you can go either way on it. But ultimately, only one side as Mickey Mouse getting beaten to death. If the 4B2s were doing it, I'd be a little bit alarmed at that as well. But I've never seen them do that. I've never seen... They might, like, covertly do a little bit of indoctrination, but I've never seen a full-blown, like, a kids' TV show aimed at 8-year-olds with, you know... What's it? Shumley the anthropomorphic elephant kicking a small child to death in Palestine. So yeah, that I think that was actually funnier than Borough Pat. I was crying laughing watching that. So that's mint. Anyway, back to the story we were discussing. So if you just arrived, young lass killed in Dublin, but they're now sensible enough to not say by a man who's as Irish as Conor McGregor. Now it says he has an address in Kinley House in Dublin, and that's it. Won't tell you where he's from, will they? Won't tell you where he's from. But I'll give you a clue. With a name like Abby Dabby Diamond, he's probably not from Yorkshire. Although, maybe his grandparents were, and he was born in Bradalabad. But it's unlikely. It's unlikely. Probably moved there in the last sort of 10 years. And it's just more of the same. So as I said, to me, it's disgraceful. It's disgraceful. You wouldn't import en masse thousands of young men from a Western country. It'd be a bad idea. If you imported 500 young men from Norway to Dublin, some of them would be criminals, even raised in the genteel West. So when you're bringing them from the armpit of the world, somewhere that's famously tumultuous, and they watch children's TV programs like the aforementioned suicidal hissing mouse, the anthropomorphic bee that tortures cats and has exploding shoes, you're just asking for trouble, aren't you? So I think it's shocking, and it's extremely irritating. Well, that's an understatement, isn't it? They're literally importing people that kill women and children. And, yeah, it's shocking, really. People, this is what I've made this point many times before, right? They call people like me xenophobic or something, or they especially love to throw the term empathy around, don't they? They say, you see a boat full of young men, but some of them are going to be hungry and some of them are going to be thirsty. Don't you have any empathy? And I was talking to my missus about this yesterday. I think they're mentally ill, because the reason I get so angry about it is because I have empathy. Do you know what I mean? I think people like Keir Starmer and Rishi Sunak, I think they're mental. I think there's some part of the brain that's broken, because when they see 500 young fighting age men on a boat and they know some of them are going to brutalise young women and girls, they don't feel empathy for the women and girls. It blows my mind. Like, I read a story like this and see a picture of a young lass like that, and it boils my blood because I've got empathy. I seriously think they're phoning it in. When they say they have empathy, I think they're lying. I don't think they've got compassion. I think that it's part of some nefarious plan that they think will assist them in some way for this political game. Like, they know they're all going to vote for them. So they throw the word empathy around, but they lie. They lie. I don't think they are empathy. I empathise with the women and the children that get victimised by these people. So it boils my blood. It boils my blood. As I said, I'm one bad day away from going off it. Like, they talk about people getting extrematized. What do you think makes people extreme? It's another point I've made before. And again, I've always been socially liberal, reasonable chap. But Tony Romo talking never made me that angry. He's just a bloke talking. Tony Romo didn't spark me into action. But you know what did really make me angry and change my political beliefs? Reading about the industrial scale grooming of thousands of young lasses. That made me angry. Boiled my blood, in fact. When I seen the picture of that little Safi, I was that close to snapping and just going down to Alan's place with a chainsaw, and it boils my blood. And they're worried about words all the time. It's just words. Nobody talking. Nobody, even Winston Churchill, isn't a good enough orator to get someone who's totally normal and totally reasonable and instantly move them towards full-blown violent attacks. It's it's the criminal action that motivates you. Like, nothing makes me more angry than seeing the kids. And then Morrissey's new song, did you see that on the Lotus Eaters? That's a good one, worth reading. The lyrics to it, it's like the bloke's angry. And this is what I'm getting to. It makes someone who's as much of a pinko lefty as Morrissey get super, super angry. What's it going to do to normal people? Like, in fact, I'll show you the lyrics. You can see he's enraged. It's in the words on the page. They jump out at you. Now look at this. That's the words to his song Bonfire of Teenagers. Obviously, he's in reference to the Manchester bombings. And the words are, get off there, you. Bonfire of Teenagers, which is so high in May, northwest sky. You should have seen her leave for the arena. On the way, she turned and waved and smiled, goodbye, goodbye. And all the silly people sing, don't look back in anger. And the morons sing and swear, don't look back in anger. I can assure you I will look back in anger till the day I die. Like, of course he will. Of course he will. Because that's normal. And these twats talking about, came out about 2 years ago, I believe, Peter. Yeah, 2 or 3 years ago. But he's struggled to get it, like, released commercially, hasn't he? But that's what I'm talking about. Like, if it's enough to turn a pinko socialist, or he certainly was for years, into a very, very bitter, angry man, what's it going to do to millions and millions of people? You want to talk about extremists? It's not people talking you need to be worried about. The extremists are getting caused by the inability to deal with the murderers. Like, how is this not well known? How am I talking about this on a live stream on a shitty little YouTube channel? The politicians should be on Newsnight saying, we understand why everybody's outraged because you're seeing imagery of dead children. So, of course, we understand why people are outraged. But instead, lunacy, instead they're victimising the people who get angry about it. Think of that. There's now hundreds of people in prison for being so angry when they saw the images of the wounded and dead children that they lost their rag and went out on the streets and threw a bottle at the copper. Well, the root cause isn't Tony Romo talking or me saying, oh, this is bad, innit? It's not that. The root cause is the imagery and the knowledge of the butchery and slaughter of young women like Mary in Dublin and little kids. It boils my piss in the bladder It seriously infuriates me. And they're going, oh, you know what the real problem is? Oh, it's Tony Romo. He talks on the internet and that's what's making people extremists. No, it's not. It's not. Mozza's pissed off because a load of little kids and women got blew up by a foreign mass murderer. A Libyan. Why is it our problem? Libya. We've had nothing to do with Libya for bastard years. Refugee camps resistance, martyr. The terminology designed to create victims. There is some reason their countries are the way they are. Yeah. Because of the ideology they all love. Ridiculous. And then look at them lines at the end. Go easy on the killer. Go easy on the killer. That's what they do. The day after the Manchester bombing, I seen the BBC covering you can't say the M word, hug a regular at Alan's legendary snack bar. That's what the BBC went with the day after. They said the biggest problem about this type of stuff is that it might make people phobic about everybody's favourite Bronze Age desert fiction. That's the big problem. Like the big problem with people getting it. No, the big problem is scraping the women and kids off the walls of the arena, you psychopath. The big problem is redecorating the foyer of the Manchester Evening News Arena in brain matter grey because this piece of shit kills women and children and the government does nothing about it. That's the problem. Funny old thing. As I said, they're like the dog, the meme of the dog in the burning house. This is fine. That's what the British government are like. No, the real problem is phobia. It's no, the real problem's the dead women and kids shit for brains. I was about that for a problem. Meow Moo, cheers for the deep sea diver. My favourite YouTube fellow, the voice of sanity in the morning with a coffee. Thanks for speaking reality. Things are severely effed up. This is one of the primary reasons for me not having any kids is because I'm a bitter, resentful, pissed off, pragmatic realist. And I'm not a sentimental, emotional person, so I've never really been bothered. I've always been on the fence about the kids. But definitely a big reason is I honestly had such a good childhood in the 80s. I had such a good childhood. I loved it. Everyone was nice to me. There was a real sense of community. And knowing that I couldn't give that to a kid now, I feel like if you know you can't give the kid at least a good an upbringing as you had, if you're being very cynical and pragmatic and, logical about it, there's no real motivation to have children. And that's why our generation's not having any. Millennials and Gen Z and I'm Gen X, not having kids. Nowhere near the numbers of the grandparents because look at the pig's ear we've made of the world. Bomb them out of dominance. They live in the 7th, we're in the 21st. Yeah, I know. I was actually mentioning this morning because I went downstairs and me missus was watching the Enigma thing, with Alan Turing in. And they were like, oh yeah, it was bad. The chemically castrated him, so he ended up committing suicide. And I was like, yeah, but think of this. We slag off our forebears' generation for being a bit ignorant. And again, I've talked about this many times. I don't care if you're mega right-wing and you hate them. I'm not in any way homophobic. Like, my generation in the 80s was raised to tell you that you didn't choose your sexuality. They've now totally turned that on its head. You do. Apparently you do choose now. I could flip a coin. I'm like, cock today then. That's what they think. That's how they think the world is now. Maniacs that run it now. Gobbledygook. They think you can be well into tits on a Monday and just fancy noshing a cock on a Tuesday. Totally normal. And so I've never been homophobic, being raised in the 80s. Live and let live. Long as it's consenting and it's got nothing to do with kids. But again, in the 80s, it wasn't thrust down your neck, sometimes literally, right? It wasn't, there was gay bars and people used to go to them, and gay men, some of them would be a little bit mincy, but that was it. They didn't ram it down your throat like they do now. If you don't watch me Roger my boyfriend outside this library, you're a homophobe. No, I'm not. I was pro-gay marriage in the 80s before it was cool, thanks. But even the gays were a lot more sensible in the 80s. They didn't used to gallivant down the street in a gimp suit, swinging a big spiky dildo above their heads. The world's gone crazy. And the 80s was hoofing. And that's why you're cynical about it. The 80s was mint, man. And the other thing why I get so angry about it is because the psychopaths that run the world now just outright lie to your face. Like, most of us are old enough to remember the 80s. I remember it. I remember the 80s, thanks. And then you see some shit-for-brains bloke from Abu Dhabi in the middle of the street in London saying, my ancestors built this country. I'm like, no, they didn't. No, they didn't. If everything in Britain looked like it was made of flat pack furniture, if York Minster looked like it was a pop-up, right? If York Minster was a shitty little drywall building that had popped up in 20 minutes, maybe your ancestors built York Minster. If St. Paul's Cathedral was a cupboard with a dome on it, one of them shitty ones they build, a flat pack that you could knock down with a sledgehammer in 2 minutes, then maybe your ancestors made it, but they didn't, because they've been there for hundreds of years. So your ancestors didn't build it. Mine did. Thanks very much. Oh, yeah. And oh, no, I've got a little bit of Irish in me. So, yeah, mine. Not yours. If your name's 27 vowels, right? Your ancestors didn't build this country. Find your way, man. I'm Mr. Neck. Greetings from the West Country. That remains my favourite part of the UK, that. Like I said, from going down there as a bootneck, posh down there, it seems to be the last sort of vestige of civilization in England now. Because if you go like out in the sticks, it's kind of sparsely populated. I've always wanted to go somewhere like St Ives or down to Penzance or something. The southwest is the nicest part of the UK because it's still England. Still England. If you go to a little shitty town in the southwest, it's still England. Sir, cheers for the Ayrton Senna. No tribal culture is able to fit into a Western culture. Their belief systems are two completely different, 100%. Even the ones born here have the same mentality. It's bred into them from birth. See, well, I'd disagree. As I said, I think if you're born and raised here and you have a reasonable family who understand that not all cultures are different, because like I said, one of the little Indian kids who I went to primary school with, you would say his parents were Anglophiles, but again, both of them were doctors. So it's always about money and class, isn't it? Like I said to you, I've got no problem with someone who went to an Ivy League university moving to England, but none of them are. Because his mum and dad were both doctors. They were like Anglophiles. And I told you I went out with a Vietnamese lass in school when I was a young lad. And the mum and dad had like a picture of the Queen above the fireplace. So the other cultures, some of them revere and respect the culture, and they're the clever ones, and they're the ones who, properly fit in and get educated. But yeah, the majority, especially the ones we move here now, couldn't give a monkey's fart about the Queen. They hate the Queen. They hate our culture. So it's not even the same thing. It's not even the same thing. And regarding Ace's comment there about that no tribal culture doesn't work, this is what I've said loads of times. I've made this point loads of times. The Americans, meow, cheers for £2. The 80s. Yeah, it was mint. The 80s was mint. I tell the story about, this is why I'm a people person, and I've always been socially liberal and trusting, because I was raised in a high trust society. And I tell the story when my mum took me to Stokesley when I was like a bear, and I was like 4, and I stopped to look at something in a window and she disappeared. She kept walking, didn't realise I'd stopped. And I turned around and I burst into tears because I didn't know where my mum was. I was a little kid. And I was outside Coupland's, the bakery in Stokesley. And an old woman came out and went, "Oh, have you lost your mum?" So they took me inside the bakery, put me in the window, and then gave me like a lolly or something. And then I was buzzing. I was just stood in the window eating me lolly. Not a care in the world. I was happy because I knew the old woman was looking after me. And then 2 minutes later, my mum comes on, you just see her looking in the window, and then I am like that, buzzing with a lolly in my mouth. Everyone was so kind to me when I was a kid growing up in the 80s. Whenever I went like anywhere weird, or I got lost, or there was an incident, or I was frightened, or anything, a stranger would instantly be like, "Hello, son. We didn't have this obsession." Now, you're convinced that if you leave your kid for 2 minutes, he's going to end up getting folded up like a deck chair, and he's going to have a 58-year-old imam bouncing on his shit locker. I mean, this is the world we've created. We've ruined everything. Ruined everything. Because we've imported people, and that's the important thing about the culture. I made this point to the Americans loads of times, right? The obsession with democracy is what balls everything up. Because none of them will say what normal working class people know. Not all cultures are equal. And if you live in a tribal culture, as our man just said there, sorry, where's his comment gone? Asa. It doesn't work with Western culture. The belief system's completely different. Idi Amin, right? I keep telling this story. If you know the history of Uganda, we cause these problems because we say you have to have elections. We tie aid money to elections. We go, oh, if you want the aid money, you've got to have the elections. And they're not like us. They don't see Donald Trump and Kamala Harris and go, I'll just pick which one I prefer. They have it bred into them that it's your tribe. It's like, oh, it has to be. If whoever who is from the Umbutu tribe, even if I don't like him, I'm voting for him. And that's the way they are. So how can you have an election when it's not about what you agree with or what you say or the character of the person? That's how it works. So there's all these different tribal groups that can't have elections. Do you know what I'm saying? They'll be like, oh, I'm from the Banyaka tribe. I'm not voting for that guy. So then the person who we've told, the dictator that we've told, the raving lunatic that we've put in charge, we say, oh, no. If you want the money, you have to have the elections. And he looks at the demographics because he's got more sense than our politicians, evidently. And he goes, oh, look at that. I'm from a minority tribe, so I can't win an election. Oh, but sir, they've said that they're not going to give you the aid money unless we have an election. Oh, okay then. I guess I'll just disappear them all. And then he kills 500,000 people, and Keir Starmer, Boris Johnson and Rishi Sunak and George Bush and anyone else, these shit for brains people that we run into charge, they're like, whoa, killed 500,000 people? What did he do that for? What do you mean, what did he do it for, you absolute gibbon? What do you mean? Or they go, oh, never saw that coming. Oh, really? Didn't see that coming, no? Didn't see that coming. If a big naked man with a chainsaw was at the bottom of your stairs, and 2 minutes later he's decapitated your missus, did you not see that coming? No, you just thought, well, it's all right. Naked man with a chainsaw at the bottom of the stairs, it's pretty normal. But he just wandered in. Probably just going to let himself out when he's, done his business. How thick are you? And this is what I'm talking about. So we cause this. It's our fault. We force elections on people that are not ready for elections. If it's a tribal society, you can't have elections. It doesn't work. Because they don't even listen. They don't care what they say. If it's a tribal society, they couldn't give a monkey's fart what they have to say. If you're a Sunni and there's a Shia running against a Sunni, you don't care if the Shia's sensible. If the Shia's eloquent and articulate and the Sunni is a Downy, you're still voting for candidate Downs because that's how it works. And thick bastards like us cause all this chaos. We've got to have elections. Ram the elections. Pork them. We don't need to have elections. What we need to do is stop forcing elections on backwoods shitholes where they don't care about what the political candidates have to say. Easy, innit? Lionel Blair. Tall trees in Yarm. Oh, I used to go there when I was a teenager. Club M. It was posh there. Like, we rarely go there. Probably only went like 6 or 7 times. We used to call it Club Money because it was Club M. Well, we used to go to Millennium in Teesside Park because it was 99 pence for a bottle. It was 99 pence for like Beck's, Budweiser and Olsen Pills. So I used to go to the bar and just get like 4. And you'd just be dancing with 4 bottles in your hand. It was mint. Could go on the piss. That's another good thing about the 90s, isn't it? You could go on the piss for like 15 quid. It was hoofing. If you're a bird, you'd do it for a £5. All you needed was your bus fare. Bus fare down, bus fare back. That was 80. What, £1.60? And then 2 quid for the door and maybe 2 drinks worth. Could go out on the piss with about 7 quid. So, yeah, brilliant. The 80s and the 90s was hoofing. And now look what we've got. And as I said, they gaslight you because you remember what it was like. In the 80s, you see footage of London in the 80s, it was totally white. There was no foreigners. Like, you very, very occasionally you'd see one. And now in 2024, they go, oh yeah, I built St. Paul's Cathedral. When did you arrive? 2007. Well, you fucking didn't then, did you? You didn't, did you? You didn't build it. It was in existence hundreds of years before your ancestors ever even considered breaking into the UK. So you can suck my festering left one. How's that grab you? Anyway, I'm ranting. This is disgraceful. Look at his name. Abba Dabba 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 Man, imported to Dublin, kills a young woman. So if you're not angry, you should be. And if anyone wants to talk to you about empathy, just give them what I just told you. Say, you don't get to talk to me about empathy because I don't believe you have any. You don't care about innocent women and children. So you're full of shit. You don't have any empathy. You're not in a position to lecture me, you horrible, slimy, lying rat bastard. You don't get to lecture me about empathy. Thanks very much. Find your way, man. Bus fare, down, bus fare back. More than after bill. I don't. Was it a thing in the 80s? I don't know. I thought it was a relatively new invention. That. Joe's give me a super. I don't even know how to show them. It's weird. Don't get it. I guess you can only see them on YouTube, not StreamYard. It is. It's a shocking state of affairs. Shocking state of affairs. Does me head in. Anyway, we got anything else on the BBC? 60 injured in a drone attack on Israel. Why do they bother? They know they're going to get malleted. I don't see the point. Oh, there we are. Chopsticks manoeuvre. They covered that on the BBC. Family rushed to hospital after eating toxic mushrooms. Where are they from? Or Amish. I assume they'd be, because that's another thing they're doing back home. They're eating all the spuggies, aren't they? Random foreigners from third world dives. They're eating all the spuggies in England. I used to love. Now, I know this sounds a bit nerdy, but my missus laughed about this because she said stereotypically British people like bird watching. I don't know if that's a stereotype, but apparently it is in America. And I love watching the birds, me. When I'm having a cup of tea in England, I love to go and sit in the back garden when the weather's nice and watch the dicky birds. There's loads of good ones. There's kites near my dad's house. Seen a red kite down there. I love watching them. I remember when I was a kid, him and his mate Andy took me to see the golden eagles as well. They're great to watch, great little creatures. And these arseholes, so they're not content with just shagging the women and children against their will, giving them a bit of surprise sex when they're out walking the dog. They're even shagging the wildlife. Because I read that spuggies are starting to go. There's no songbirds in the trees anymore. Because Joe Dackey wants to eat one. So that's brilliant. Swans, buttered swans. That's what they. You get someone from the Middle East, they think it's a delicacy. So they're scranning the animals. And when Trump said it, oh yeah, no, it's conspiracy theory. And you could go online and there's videos of it happening. They're like, oh no, they're not eating people's pets. And then you see a video online and there's a woman going, oh hell no, that motherfucker just ate my cat. And you're like, oh really? So they're not doing that? Well, why is she all animated then? If it's all just they're such lying bastards, aren't they? And which is why we have to watch it when they keep talking about misinformation. Like I said, I don't even pronounce the word properly because I hate it. I don't like to see any of this bollocks where they're just calling things disinformation. Just, if it's a lie, just call it a lie. Liar. That Tim Waltz is a liar. You don't have to go, yeah, Mr. Waltz has been accused of spreading... He's a liar. Just call him a liar. So I hate this bullshit because they're trying to sell you. They're trying to sell you on the idea that aggressively censoring you is a good idea. That's what they're trying to do. Oh, come on, buy in. It's a great idea. Think about it. We can help stop... No, because you said it was misinformation and 6 months later it was proved true. So you can't censor it because if you censor it, you're censoring the truth, aren't you? And you're an absolute moron. Lies, lies and more lies. They think they do. They think that this is why I get so offended. Like I told you, this is why I'm raged all the time because it's personally insulting to me. Oh yeah, Sadwings is in. How you doing, Sadwings? I haven't seen you for a while, mate. I thought you're I thought the hurricane might have knocked your power out or something. It's insulting. A good lie doesn't offend me that much when I find out about it. But a really, like, if you tell me an insulting lie, it boils my blood. Because what you're saying is, Mr. Bootneck is so thick. He is such a gibbering idiot. He's an imbecile. He's an absolute shit for brains. That I can tell him the most obvious lie ever, and he's going to fall for it. That's why it insults me. And they do it all the time. They go, oh, we're not talking about censoring freedom of speech. We're just going to stop. And then all the stuff that they're censored is true. I can give you examples right now without even looking into it. Wu flu, lockdowns in China, said was conspiracy. Joe Biden's shit for brains son, the laptop. Oh, actually, it's a Russian plot. Trump getting swamped on by prozzies. There's dozens of them, and they go, oh, yeah. We're not censoring freedom of speech. We're just cleaning up some disinformation. Well, it's all true. It's all true. So all them things I've just reeled off, at one time, they called them misinformation. Yeah, we have to censor this. This is and it's all true. True. So therefore, you did censor free speech, didn't you? You censored truth. It was worse than censoring speech. Censored truth. The laptop wasn't a Russian plant. The laptop belonged to a shit for brains druggie who forgot it was there because he's melted his brain cells and he's as light as a Candyman's balloon. That's what you did. You lied. You're a liar. And you want us to side with you. No. I would rather nail my scrotum to this desk and then leap back with shock and surprise than sign up for you controlling my opinions. And this is, like I said, it does sound, I know, I'm aware I come across a little bit hypocritical because I'm lucky enough to have managed to snag a visa and go to the United States where it's protected by the First Amendment. But you lot should be angry about it. Very, very angry about it. Censoring people and locking them up for political opinions is the behaviour of a tyrant. That's a Stalin or a Chairman Mao or a Pol Pot. That's what they're doing in England. Locking people up for just having an opinion. You're entitled to your opinion. And this is what I've said about everything. To me, I am a free speech absolutist. Everyone says this, but most of them aren't. Everyone loves quoting Voltaire, don't they? I was ranting about this in the pub last night. Everyone loves to do that. I may disagree with what you say, but I'll defend to the death your right to say it. No, you won't. No, you won't. You're a liar. You love talking a good game, but you won't. Me, I don't think hate speech laws should exist at all. If some bloke wants to stand on the street and say, I think every single 4B2 on the planet should be, grounded to powder, he's allowed to have his ignorant, evil, ill-informed opinion because 99.99999% of people aren't thick enough to just take someone's word for it and go, yeah, okay, that's a good idea. And when he's saying that, there'll be 1,000 times as many people happily stood near him going, yeah, he's talking bollocks. You don't need this thing that you need to police it to keep people safe. It's lies. It's more lies. It's the same as talking about that's saying it so they can gag you. Oh, it's about safety. Have you not read any of the commie gibberish books by the likes of that Saul Alinsky or any of the writings of some of the Frankfurt School and all these wankers from usually France, Michel Foucault, Derrida, all them dickheads? They know all of this. It's a political game. They know that you tie it to safety and you talk about harm. Because then the morons go, oh, well, if it's a safety issue, we have to sign up. Oh, no, if you disagree with me, I don't feel safe. Oh, okay, then I won't disagree with you. No, I don't care. You're lying to me. You do feel safe. They're in charge. They've got all the power. They do feel safe. Silence is violence. There's one of my favourites. Remember that one? Silence is violence. Because they know that morons go, oh, violence. They just see the V word and they go, oh, well, I have to do what you tell me then. Angela Rayner doesn't have a minge like a butcher's bin. It's misinformation. Yeah, you can see I've heard that one before because I got round the typo. Yeah, butcher's the butcher's bucket. My mate Dave's in Alco, and this is quite disgusting. He was telling us in our WhatsApp group once. He was like, "Is it normal to have a bit of blood in your stool when you've been drinking?" And we were like, "Yeah, it's pretty normal." I was like, "Yeah, sometimes I'll go for a shite after I've been on the piss for a few days. A little bit of blood in it." And he went, "Oh, okay, I'm just checking." And then he sends us a photo, and it literally looks like someone's like cut a pig's throat and then scooped a bit of its brains out and put it down the pan. So he was like, "Oh, good to know." And then I looked at the photo and I was like, I could drop my phone in horror. And I was like, "Yeah, you need to seek medical attention. That isn't normal." So we used to call him Butcher's Bucket. On the road, working pipelines. Oh, there you go, Sadwings. Grafting. From New Jersey to Michigan to Indiana to Kentucky to Tennessee. Oh, that's quality. That's quality. Tax-free overtime. Oh, yeah. We all need the Orange Oracle to win. It's not just you, mate. It's all of us at this point. Because we're in the shit if he doesn't. Loads of good places there, by the way. As I said, the Bootneck's well-travelled. I've probably been to most of them. I haven't been to New Jersey, but I've been to the rest of them. When I was living in Huntsville, Alabama, I was working for an aerospace company out there. And whenever I got a long weekend, I'd try and go somewhere. So I've sort of travelled the whole region. I remember we got like 4 or 5 days off for Veterans Day. And we did like a little triangle. I went to like Cincinnati, Indianapolis, and what was the other one? Louisville, where they make the Louisville Sluggers. I'm a butcher. That previous super chat was an insult to Butcher's Pint. I apologise. I can't. This is a freedom of speech channel. I can't start censoring people just for insulting the noble profession of butchery. Paz is in as well now. Then Paz, how are you? Right. So that's I'll tell you what. We'll do one more, shall we? I've had a few good stories sent to me, and maybe I'll just pick one, or I'll have a quick scroll through Twitter and see what the crack is here. Crash death. Yeah, that's not really. I haven't really had the time to read that. Now let's pick something on Twitter. Where's Twitter gone? Here we are. What's this one? Oh yeah, Bootneck's in bother. Yeah, this is unbelievable. The problem is the government couldn't give a monkey's fart about bloody petitions, could they? They just don't care. That's what I'm saying. You're not living in a democracy, so they don't care. They don't care. If they cared, think about it. Like I've been saying, you live in a police state for decades. If they cared, there wouldn't be a migrant problem, because the UK public has been very, very anti-immigrant for about 20 years. Like, after we realised what Tony Blair did, the anti-immigrant sentiments really started going through the roof in about, like, 2005. So, for 20 years, the UK public's been saying, yeah, we really need to get a grip of this. We really need less of these people. And they don't care. And they never have. And they never will. So, what's the point in a petition? Sign it, please, if you can be asked, because I know I'm a cynical prick and maybe it'll help. But I just don't see... They'll do what they want. They'll do what they want. And they couldn't give a shite. The whole point... If they were to take a referendum, should we stop immigration to the UK? It'd be like a landslide, where like 80% of the UK would say, yes, stop it. Should we deploy the Navy and 500 Angry Bootnecks in rigid raiders to make sure that nobody gets to our beaches in a dinghy? We could do that in an hour. And if you put that on the card, 80% of the country would say do it. But they won't. And they never will. Because they do it on purpose. So I've been saying, the UK has been anti-migrant for decades. At least 20 years. The whole Tory platform was them saying, in the manifesto, we will get immigration down to the tens of thousands per year. That was their promise. And for 14 years, they imported millions of them. So it's on purpose. And like I said, you should be able to try them for treason, because that's not just lying. That's lying with malicious intent, because they said, we'll do this, and then they get in and they do the exact opposite. And you can do nothing about it. You can do nothing about it. It's like I told you, you're living in a police state. Look at Nick Clegg. Nick Clegg, Cleggy, what a bell end. I live and hope that I see that scumbag on the streets of one of these cities, because I occasionally tolerate San Francisco. I live in hope that I see him one day. I'd love to bump into Cleggy. I'd be like, now then, Cleggy, you rat bastard. You've got a forked tongue, and every time you flap it, I want to punch your face in. What a rat bastard he is. And he campaigned specifically on, we are going to make free universities. That was his number one pledge. And 2 weeks into power as the Deputy Prime Minister, triple student fees. That actually happened. And no one can do anything about it. You've got no recourse. They can do the exact opposite of what they tell you. It wouldn't be so bad if they just didn't mention it and did it. But in the UK, they can do the exact opposite. The entirety of their platform can be anti-immigrant. And then when they get in, they go, oh, actually, we're going to import 8 million Egyptians, and there's nothing you can do about it. Nothing you can do about it. Honestly, yeah, lift him out of his socks. I'd give him so many combinations he'd think he was a safe. I'd give him so many lefts he'd beg me for a right. I'd punch him that fast he'd think he was fighting an angry mob. I absolutely hate him. So, Bootneck Live, as rare as a Frenchman turn up for a scrap. Not that rare. I try to do at least one every fortnight. Anyway, yeah, thanks for coming. In fact, nearly an hour. I'll do one more and then I'm going to piss off. What about, I want a story. There's normally got a good stuff on here because the shit I want to talk about, I remember it by putting it in the replies. America's amazing. I know I've said this before, but like I said, it sounds like I'm trying to be a smug twat and rubbing your nose in it. But as I said, America lets me talk shit. If I genuinely worry that when I go back, because I'm going to do a live event next year, we'll do the BBC Spews live, right? So we'll do it in person. I'm genuinely concerned that I'll get pulled at Heathrow. That's how bad England is. Because you've seen all of these people get rounded up. What happened to Sam Mellier is an international disgrace. A man is lost his liberty and can't see his wife and children because he has opinions that the government doesn't like. That is all he's done. He's entitled to his opinion. When I walked around Edinburgh, there was loads of stickers everywhere saying Scottish, not English, Anglophobic drivel, everywhere you look. That man is in prison for having an opinion. So America is the greatest country on earth. And I'll say this in a room full of 800, well, it says there's 866 people in here. 856 are probably English. And I'll say it in front of you all because it's true. And I'm a pragmatist and I believe in facing the mirror and facing the difficult truth. America is a freer country than England. Nobody's ever been sent to prison for having an opinion in America. We've got all sorts of problems, numerous problems, and the biggest one is the foot-faced shit-for-brains Kamala Harris, who noshed her way up the totem pole, and she's got a fanny like a burst mattress. She's running to run the country. So we've gone out with a fair share of problems. But nobody's ever been locked up for 2 years for having a political opinion in the United States. And that's what happened to Mr. Mellier. It's a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace. Find your way. Angela Rayner, Daley Thompson in a ginger wig. Yeah, absolute howler. She's honking. She's got a massive head as well. She's got a head like a butternut squash. Your mate said the other day. She's got a head like a recycling bin. You know them big square ones you leave your cans and your bottles in. Swede like a fucking recycling bin. So that's it's shocking. Shocking. So like I said, it's disgraceful what's going on in the UK. I'm sorry to hear that, Kevin. What did he do? What did your lad do? I'm curious to know if you can put it in the chat. Because it's like I said, you're not living in a free country. So I'm not slagging off the country of my birth. Most of my politics is still English politics, even though I've lived in America for 10 years. I'm as English as anyone. I'm culturally, ethnically, linguistically, I'm very, very English, and I'm very proud to be English. But America's a better country because you can say what you like. I'm massively worried about getting pulled at Heathrow. I'm gonna put a fake tash on and just fly on my American passport because I've got both. Normally, you go in through the advantage of having two passports is you go in on your British passport to UK, and then when you come to America, you go in on your American passport. But for this trip, I'm going to leave my British passport in the drawer, and I'm going to fly purely on my American one, and hope, fingers crossed, that they're not looking for a Mr. Taylor from America. They're looking for a Mr. Taylor from England. And then I'm thinking as well, if I go in on my US passport, I might be able to use the US president to get me out of prison, because I'm convinced they'll lock me up for opinions, and all my opinions. I'm not even demonetized anymore. I'm actually making some money off YouTube now because I'm not even demonetized. There's thousands of hours of my content on the internet, so it's milquetoast. It's reasonable. I don't say anything that's massively objectionable, and I'm genuinely concerned that the British government's going to lock me up. So how is that, what I've just said there, how is that wrong? How is that wrong? If you're scared of getting locked up like poor old Sam Mellier for having an opinion, I'm sorry, England isn't a good country. It's not. It's a police state. At least in America, they'll lock you up for something. At least in America, they'd come up with some decent trumped-up charges. They wouldn't go, oh, you called... I mean, you've all seen that one. A bloke went to court for calling a police horse gay. It's like a pissed bloke at a football match. And he went, oh, yeah, take your gay horse away from me. And they arrested him. Oh, how dare you insult a police horse's sexuality? It's like, are you having a laugh? Oh, yeah, here's another one. Frisp. Alex Salmons kicked the bucket. He's another one. Big, fat, 20-chinned, horrible, sweaty Frisp. And as I've told you, Frisp is a funny one we say in the car. If you're English, Frisp is fucking repulsive, ignorant Scottish prick. If you're Scottish, it's friendly, reliable, intelligent Scottish person. And that's just a good bit of banter that we used to have between the related nations, because we are very closely related. Can't do that anymore. Yeah, that's hateful. That's hateful. Can't have a bit of crack with your neighbours now. No, it's hateful, that. Leave your passport and they'll give you a free hotel. Yeah, I'll come in. I'll jump in the back of a tomato wagon and they'll leave me alone, won't they? Rock up in a dinghy with a human head in my backpack and hissing shoes, and they'll look after me. So, yeah, I'm pleased I've outlived the fat Frisp and Suzar. I'm having a good year. Right, that's an hour and 3 minutes. You can have that for now, you twats. Thank you to everybody who watched. Oh, shit, hang on. One thing I've just thought of. I need tea. My missus said, Matty, we're down to our last 100 Ringtons tea bags. I need some tea bags. Who wants some shit art? If you want some shit art, send me an email at mattyrm@, there we are. Put it in the chat. If you want some shit art, send me an email. Give me your address. I'll give you mine. You send me some Ringtons tea bags. I will leave the quantity up to you. I will send you some shit art and some stickers and whatever else I can think of. I'll send you a pack of shite. All right? First one to send me a package of Ringtons tea, because you can't buy it over here. I've tried to buy Ringtons tea. No, Ringtons is my favourite. I like to support the Northeast economy. Holly. So not Yorkshire tea. I boycotted Yorkshire tea after what they did to Mrs. Laura. It's essentially the Yorkshire tea's woke. So I boycotted Yorkshire tea. Ringtons don't deliver to the United States. I went on the website. I had a look. You can't buy it. They won't send you it. So send me an email. I'll send you some shite. All right? Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in, as always. Thanks for all the super chats. And thanks to the channel members, like, genuinely. It does motivate you to actually make more content when you make a small amount of money out of it. So thanks to everybody. I appreciate it. Yeah, well, obviously, barring flights, I didn't check the cupboard. Mrs. Taylor does all of the kitchen admin. So, yeah, I was wrong. So, yeah, send me some tea. I'll send you some shit art. All right, thanks for tuning in. See you all very soon. Appreciate you. Take it easy. Toodle pip.